you know, at the risk of really sounding like a douche, I got a lot to say that's pretty douchey.
You're listening to Hypothetically with Will Newman.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is where you are. Thank you for listening to Hypothetically with Will Noonan. That's me coming at you right now from one of the fucking hundreds of tunnels underneath the city of Boston from the Big Dig. I'm in one of them. I'm on 93 North. I'm heading up to Newmarket, New Hampshire to go do some stand-up comedy. It's fall. It's September, and I'm back to doing a shitload of gigs, and we're back in the swing of things, and we're back in the busy comedy times. Why am I burping so early into this fuck? Man, I got a little case of the acid indigestion. Excuse me, I had a touch of a stomach issue yesterday. Had a bit of a foodborne illness. I wouldn't call it actual food poisoning because it wasn't really that bad. I never actually vomited or anything, but I was sick as fuck from, I don't know, it could have been some deli meats that were out on one of those banquet displays, you know, with the meats and the cheeses and the rolls. I almost never fuck with those. It's like someone putting out a piece of, you know, Scotch tape you know, in a fucking room full of bacteria and flies, which is every room. And they put the Scotch tape down, sticky side up, and they leave it out there for like, I don't know, an hour with all the flies and bacteria flying around. And then they come up and they're like, hey, you want to lick this piece of Scotch tape? Actually, better yet, put it in your mouth, chew on it for a while, swallow it, let all that bacteria that's in there and all that fucking foodborne shit that's going to give you diarrhea and pellet poops and all kinds of horrible gastrointestinal pain and sorrow. And it's going to feed upon your soul. You're actually going to lose some of your soul because this thing is going to take little tiny bites out of it all night long, like some kind of mouse left alone in a bakery to just feast upon baked goods all night long. And it starts with the cocaine flavored cupcakes, so it has enough energy to do everything. That's what was going on in my gut yesterday, motherfuckers. I was not doing good. I still got out to my show, of course, staunch professional, but I got out there. But yeah, so I'm back to like kind of that grind. I look at my calendar. I got a ton of long drives coming. And I'm on a semi-long drive right now, about an hour and a half. But every gig I've done this weekend has been about at least 2 hours driving there so far. So let's see. Thursday, I was up in Gloucester, Massachusetts, which should only be about 44 minutes away. But because of traffic and exploding towns, fucking Andover and Lawrence were like exploding a little bit, so you probably saw that on the news. So that caused a lot of traffic, but also it was there was just a shitload of traffic that day anyway. So that was a long ass drive. And then last night I was in Hadley, Massachusetts, which is out there past Springfield. So that's a 2-hour drive without any traffic, but it was a Friday afternoon or Friday night show, but I have to leave Friday afternoon to go, so that ended up being like a 3-hour drive. And hold on, I'm looking at this new Encore casino here in Charlestown for the first time, or whatever the fuck it is, and it's a pretty nice looking building, but man, it looks very Vegas for Boston. It's a real Las Vegas-y casino-looking building. Isn't it the same exact building as the Wynn Casino? I do not know. But man, hope they build a comedy. There's like so many casinos popping up in Massachusetts. I appreciate that. So I hope they all open comedy clubs, and I hope I work in all of them. So anyway, and then tonight, so I was in Hadley last night, which is quite a drive. It's out there by UMass Amherst. And then tonight, I got fucking Newmarket, New Hampshire, heading up to do the Rockingham Ballroom, which I've done many times before as an opening act. Headlining it tonight for the first time. Should be exciting. It's a beautiful, beautiful room, beautiful club. It's old as the fucking dirt underneath Jesus' fingernails, motherfuckers. This place is old. It's got the troughs in the men's room for you to pee in. It's got like wood. Everything's made of wood. The silverware is made of wood. Everything there is fucking made of wood. And I love it. I love places like that. It looks, you could film something in the 1950s, set in the 1950s there, no problem, and it would look great. So big fan of the Rockingham Ballroom, but man, I'm after a nice little summer of sticking around Boston and sticking around the Massachusetts, keeping not a ton of long drives. I did a couple. I went to New York a few times and. Excuse me, sip of coffee. Went to New York a few times, did a few long drives, but for me and my average, cut it down a ton. Definitely got a little rusty or a little bit lazy with it, because now that I'm back, I'm feeling it a little bit. Not bad. I understand this is the gig, and I'm getting back into the groove of it, but the first night was like, holy shit, man. This is why I used to crank cigarettes so much, because it just helped with the fucking boredom of the hours of driving. But I'm gonna get back into finding like good ways to do this. I'll be podcasting more, so that's good for the fuckers like Mike Osborne out there who are always bugging me when I don't put out episodes enough, which is goddamn true. I don't put out enough episodes of this. This podcast is fucking popular, and I just put out episodes. Or, considering as how like wishy-washy I am about putting out episodes, it's fairly popular, and I appreciate you guys listening and donating. The donations have been great lately. I kind of realize that not everyone wants their names read with the donations, because a lot of people contact me with pseudonyms on Twitter and Instagram and stuff, and they don't really need their real names involved in all this shit. And I get that. People have jobs and children and all kinds of stuff, and all different reasons to want to keep their privacy. So I am with it. But I think, I can say a few of the first names, or I can say like Nicole. Want to thank Nicole. She's a longtime fan now and a friend. She's come out to see shows. She's great. Want to thank her for donating. I think it was a solid $15. Had Hawkeye. I think I mentioned him, but maybe not. He donated like $100 online. Just got a $10 one the other day after my car got towed again. My car got towed again. All right, I'm going to stick a pin in the whole car towing situation, because I wanted to tell a little story about what happened last night. Some crazy shit happened to me. Not too crazy on the grand scale of things that happened to me. Not super crazy, but I thought it was something kind of cool. It's something that had never really happened to me in 10 plus years of doing stand-up comedy. In a few months, it'll just be 11 years. So I'm on stage in Hadley, Mass. It was great to go out to Hadley, by the way. I don't get out to that town very often. And I was working with a guy who I hadn't seen in probably 8 or 9 years, Joe Pontillo. He's a comic from Long Island and in Manhattan, New York, and he's a great dude. And we started out doing all the same shows together, all the same Jeff Cole shows down in New York. So it was cool as hell to see him, however briefly, for just a couple hours. Just saw a fucking turkey on the highway that had been vaporized by someone's car. Pretty crazy for a turkey to think they can cross 93 north, 4 lanes, 8 lanes if you count both sides. So those walnut-sized brains of the turkeys don't always lead them down the right path, huh? Moving on. So I'm on stage last night in Hadley, Massachusetts, and I'm doing my stand-up routine, and I'm doing, I don't have a lot of hand gestures. I don't have any, planned hand gestures in my act, but, as you talk, you use your hands, and you use them in certain ways. And I guess there's nothing planned, but over the course of nights and telling the same jokes a lot, you kind of do get into maybe doing similar things with your hands each night. But anyway, there's sometimes when I'm telling certain jokes, I kind of hold my hand out a little bit for a little while I'm talking. Just like I'm trying to do this, it's a fucking podcast. You can't see my hand right now, but it's kind of like if you were sticking out your hand, like if you were hitchhiking with your thumb, but instead of just your thumb being out, like your whole hand is just wide open, like you're trying to catch something. So that's the angle my arm is at in this story. I'm talking, and I kind of have my arm out, and my hand's wide open, but it's at the angle as if I were kind of hitchhiking, and I'm talking to the audience, and I'm in the middle of this bit, and a fly lands on my fingertip. But the way my hand is kind of held out there, it almost looks like I wanted something, a fly or something to land. So it lands on my fingertip, and I felt it. Like, I actually felt the weight of it. I'm talking. I wasn't, like, looking at my fingers. I feel this tiny little weight of a fly on my fingertip, and it just, like, I couldn't help but talk about it. So, anyway, I got the audio here. I hope it came out good, because I haven't actually listened to it at all yet. But I did record the show last night, so I hope this came out good. And here's the fly landing on my finger last night in Hadley, Massachusetts.
In a sky of iron, the points of the dipper hung like icicles, and Orion flashed his cold fires. Thanks, Melissa. No fucking idea what's going on right now. Whoa, a fly just landed on my finger. Does anyone see that? Yes. It's never happened in 10 years of stand-up comedy. Look at that. Someone take a picture or something. Oh, he flew away, but he said, "I love you." It's your grandma. Right before his grandma. This is grandma. I love you. What a special moment we all witnessed here together. That is crazy. Not a good sign of my hygiene, but still very important. That is not a good look. How was the show tonight, hon? Pretty good, attracting flies while I was on stage. Pretty cool. Pig pen, that's me. I'm a big pig pen. So that's how chicks read. And apparently it attracts flies, but that's how they do it. But then these girls from high school, then they grow up, right? Now they're the maid of honor.
All right, so wasn't that a fucking zen magical moment? Joe Pontillo likened it to the moment a bird landed on Bernie Sanders' podium during his campaign. And I agree. It was the comedian version of a bird, which is a filthy, shit-eating fly. But I thought that was fantastico. Really put a smile on my face. Stand-up comedy, man. You fucking never know. You just never know what's gonna happen. Magical shit. That'll never happen again. That way. If you listen to podcasts, I have had pseudo interesting things with flies and bugs. Like, I always do notice that. One time I remember I was doing a fundraiser at Giggles, and like these two flies were like at my feet on stage doing some kind of like weird fly mating dance, like fighting thing. And I was telling jokes, but I kept kind of looking down and at these flies. That time I didn't talk about it because, it was like no one could really see what's going on at my feet, and also it was like no one could really see what was going on my feet, and also it was like a shitty show. Like, not because it was Giggles, but because it was like a fundraiser. No one was paying attention. It was crazy. So for me to start in that scenario being like, "Oh my God, guys, everybody, there's a couple flies up here," blah, 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 it would have been stupid. But in this scenario, I thought it worked. But I also, alright, so as funny as that was, and as just weird and random as it was, another part of me, if I want to go deeper into this and be like an artistic prick, which I am, and I've been tapping into a great deal lately. You know, I thought that was a good sign as well. I don't know, like, if that makes any sense, but I was like, this feels... After it happened with the fly on my finger, you know, when I was, like, walking to my car in the parking lot, I was like, I'm proud of that moment that just happened there. You know, not because... I had a couple funny lines about being, you know, having a fly on my finger, and I, you know, nothing that broke the fucking mold. I mean, I made a joke about myself being dirty. That's not. I wasn't proud of the jokes I had in the moment, but I was proud of myself as a comic for being able to, you know, allow that moment to happen. Just be with it, go with life as it happened to me. And then go right back into material and have it still work. So I felt like artistically and comedy-wise after that, I felt very good. I was like, okay, that was kind of like a very quick divergence, but a fun one, kind of a fun, extravagant moment and it was sort of a magic moment with this insect, and I'm glad it worked out the way it did. But I don't think... Those are the things where you go, you know, even 2 or 3 years ago, I don't know if I would have mentioned the fly, or maybe if that bit wasn't so, like, worked out at this point, I wouldn't have even felt the fucking fly if I wasn't, you know, so comfortable in that particular joke. There's a lot of things to think about there. But, you know, at the risk of really sounding like a douche, I got a lot to say that's pretty douchey. I was thinking about it today when I was running, which is also douchey. But I was listening to a podcast with these guys, the Avett Brothers. Now, I kind of have gone in and out of liking the Avett Brothers music in my life for I don't know how many years. I kind of discovered them. I think I discovered them when I was still living down in New York, but I'm not sure. Gets a little blurry, you know, with the drinking years and the first couple years of not drinking. Things are a little blurry, but I've been listening to them for a long time. But every now and then I kind of get over, like, I'm just listening to them and I'm like, I'm not into this, and I don't know. I had like a couple you know, it's like women can ruin a song for you or ruin a band for you because, like, you listen to it with them, and then if you break up with them, then you don't want to listen to it for a while. That's kind of how the Avett Brothers are. But I really just like them. I've liked them before I met all these chicks and after. But you know how it is? The Avett Brothers songs are heavy. They're all about, like, love and life and stuff. And if you're good with that, they're a fun band to be listening to. But if you're a little bit, like, not good with your love and your life, you're kind of listening to it and you're like, ugh, shit just reminds me of a bunch of shit I'm trying not to think about right now. At least me, personally. But great music, in my opinion. But sometimes it just makes me feel... You know, it's like my attitude. Sometimes I want to be, like, sensitive, artistic bitch who likes a little bit of the Avett Brothers and likes some like, sensitive, soft-ass music. And other times I'm in the mood to be, you know, like an alpha brain fucking chugging... can't even come up with the words, but a fucking dick, you know. Sometimes I think every man has two sides to him, where, you know, sometimes you're the fucking caveman beating his chest, you know, and you want to fuck something, and other times you're the caveman trying to fucking invent fire. And you're hunched over yourself, scratching your chin, pondering the great ponderances of your caveman universe, and you don't fucking know up from down, and you feel like you could cry, laugh, and shit all at the exact same time. Every man has multiple facets of himself and his personality, you know? And it kind of comes and goes like weather, at least with me. So, but I like the Avett Brothers, and I've been listening to them more and more. And I watched the documentary about them, which is now on HBO. Judd Apatow produced it. Doesn't really seem like he personally did anything too much other than get it made, which is good. So if Judd Apatow producing it turns you off from it, don't worry about it, because it's just a great documentary with these filmmakers who are clearly like involved with them for years. But there's no part of this documentary where the Avett Brothers do like shitty, terrible Melissa McCarthy improv where they're like, oh, my undercarriage, oh, hurts me in my plums, oy, 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 oy. Smells like the inside of a shed filled with period blood, glop, glop, glop. If you look at the movie 40-Year-Old Virgin, you can see, which was a great fucking movie, but it was the birth of some of the shittiest hack improv that is still existing to this day, but right now it's just finally fading out, like a decade or some shit later. But man, some of those, that whole like, let's just roll the camera on these funny guys for a little while and cut in little clips of stuff they say later. And now you just have a bunch of terrible scenes in movies where like hot actresses, even they know the formula. Like John Hamm is considered funny because of guys like Judd Apatow making comedy, quote, easy for them. That's what I think. But I'm getting way off topic because Judd Apatow, he's not a bad guy. he's done a lot for comedy, and he does make good shit. And I was glad he brought this Avett Brothers documentary to the world. So I watched it. I didn't want to watch it. It's been out for years, and I didn't want to watch it for a long time because I was like, I love this band, and I don't know anything about their personalities. What if I watch this documentary and they're fucking tools, or they're fucking, you know, like just douchebags, and I can't like even believe they're such shallow pricks or some shit. So I was kind of afraid, which really says more about me and my personality than anything. But I was like, I don't know, right? I just didn't want to watch it and want to ruin. I get that way with comedians that I really like. I've learned to be that way. I've learned through fucking cause and effect, through experience. I've learned that it's best sometimes to not find out. Sometimes it's better to just enjoy what you already think the people are like, you know? Because sometimes the reality will let you down. It'll make you sad. And then that's all you'll be able to think about every single time. And the reality isn't even necessarily literally the reality, you know? Like if you meet a celebrity that you admire on a bad day, that's just one bad day. You could have met them the day before and it would have been the interaction you wanted, but you just happen to meet them on a bad day because they're human and they have good days and bad days. But now you met them on the bad day. You'll never meet them again, so that's your only like example of who they really are. So now you've met a celebrity. You've determined through an actual interaction that they are a dick, which they earned because they were a dick in that day. And now you will go the rest of your life enjoying their art slightly less because you'll think of that every time. And also you'll tell the story too, spreading that negative opinion of them like a tiny little virus. That's why I freak out. I'm not a celebrity. I would say I'm on the spectrum. I'm on the local celebrity spectrum. I only say that because occasionally I get recognized. You know, I went to Fenway Park last week. I got recognized a few times. It's very light, though. It's enough that I can take it, and I enjoy it. But I do notice that I think many times after these quick and brief fan interactions, I often wonder if I gave enough, or I was good enough, or if I was too quick. This one guy came up to me in Dunkin' Donuts. I was not expecting it at all. It was early in the morning. I had a hat on. I was like, still hadn't had a cup of coffee or anything. I was like 8 in the morning. And this guy, really nice guy at Dunkin' Donuts, was like, his name was Alex. He was like, hey, you're really funny, man. Just wanted to say, I really think you're funny. And I was like, oh, fuck. And it kind of like snapped me out of whatever the fuck I was in a cloud doing. And he said, and I was like, oh, what's your name, man? I kind of went into my post-show mode where I find out, you know, just find out the person's name, introduce yourself to them, finally kind of meet. And he was kind of like funny. He was like, oh, my name's Alex, but it doesn't really matter. I'm not trying to bother you. I don't need to. Just wanted to say, think you're really funny. I've seen you around. I was like, oh, thanks, dude. It was a nice interaction. But then as I walked away, I'm like, this one particular did really kind of like put me in a great mood because he called me funny. It's funny how that is, but funny when someone calls you funny, it feels good in a funny way. But it's like, it's not like he said like good shit or it's awesome that this thing happened. He was like, you're funny. That's like someone telling me that I'm doing good at the thing I do. I like that. I don't know. So anyway, he put a smile on my face, but I did think about it for like 10, 15 minutes. Was I a nice enough guy? Hope I wasn't a prick to poor old Alex back there because I was kind of caught off guard. Da-da-da-da-da. So that's how you think about it. So that's why I never watched this documentary about the Avett Brothers. But finally, I was like, just from a musical standpoint, I've been playing some of their songs on guitar, and I like listening to their music. And I was like, I want to watch them. I'd like to see what these guys look like when they're playing these songs on guitar, because maybe I'm playing them wrong and shit like that. I know I'm playing them wrong. I want to see how it's done correctly. So that was like part of it. So then I watched it. That's the point. I watched the fucking documentary and I loved it. It didn't do any of the things that I was afraid it was going to do. I still like the Avett Brothers a lot. I like them even more. Wouldn't you know it? Isn't that just typical? Isn't that just how life is, huh? You think something is gonna be negative, and then it turns out not only not being that bad, but it's kind of a positive. One day at a time. Am I right, guys? All right, that's our meeting for this week. Okay, see you guys next week. Keep coming. That did sound very Alcoholics Anonymous. Anonymous. I sound like the fucking president. No politics. So anyway, I watched the documentary and I loved it. But one of the things that kind of stuck out to me, and there was a lot of things in this documentary. I highly recommend you check it out. It's on HBO on demand. Highly recommend it. Good documentary if you like docs. Great music if you like great music. And one of those, I like a documentary where they spend years with the people, and it's that kind of documentary. Years they're with this band. It's not like just one tour. So you see kind of their whole lives, and there's a lot of deep stuff in there too, because some of the guys in the band, not the brothers, but some other guys in the band, gone through some real heavy shit, and they talk about it, and I shed a couple tears watching this documentary. It's that good. I'm not going to spoil anything like that for you, but one of the things I did want to talk about was these guys, the Avetts, man. I like their brains, and I like the way they are, and I like the way they think, and I sort of connected with the stuff they were saying on a lot of levels, man. One of which was they still live in their hometown, and they still write their music in their hometown, and that's where they're inspired, and that's where they want to raise their families and stuff like that. I think that's great, and they want to be near their family that's already there, and I think that's awesome. They're kind of big, rich rock stars, but they live a very modest kind of life when they're not doing that. So it's kind of the juxtaposition of they go out and they do big shows, and they play places like Madison Square Garden and everything like that, but they return. They've both carved out kind of an artistic space, creative space for themselves in the world where they can be. And that is like what I desire more than anything lately. And these guys kind of talk about their creativity in a way in the documentary that I could really relate to. And I was also like, man, I like to hear someone else kind of say it was like, it felt really good, because no one likes to hear comedians, especially the generation that I feel like I look up to, which would be like Bobby Kelly, and who I just met and did a podcast with. You know what, dude? Check that out. Live from Boston. I was just on that. It was really cool experience. But those guys, Bobby Kelly and Jim Norton and Nick DiPaolo, funniest fucking guys out there, and they're artists, but no one really, but it doesn't really fit in with like their personas to be artists, but they are. Every single comedian out there, when we're not we're not just guys who go up on stage and act cocky. Like, we also have to write this stuff. We have to sit around and think. I mean, no matter who you are, even Andrew Dice Clay has to sit around and think and then write his thoughts down and make something out of them. That's a fucking artist. That's a creative person, Even a fucking rapper, I mean, that's one of the funnier things about rap that I've always liked. I mean, I'm a big hip hop fan. I've sort of not been into it for like the past few months. I had like this moment where I was just listening. I talked about it before ad nauseum, but just real quick for a first time listener or something. I was just listening. I've been a huge hip hop fan for like 15 years, and like I was just listening to one song one day, and I was just like, I am so fucking sick of beats. I'm so sick of listening to beats on a loop. I'm so sick of listening to music that's created by a computer or machine. I just want to hear bands. It was like when someone has a stroke and they are speaking a new language. It was like I just had a snap in my fucking head where I was like, I just don't want to listen to any more hip hop right now. And it just like it's fucking. I still listen to it occasionally when I work out, but even then lately I've just been like, it's not like I hate it. I still love all the songs I used to love, and I know I'll kind of like it'll like bleed back in slowly. But for some reason right now I'm on a hardcore like folk rock and country fucking mindset. What was the fucking point? Oh, so rappers, everyone talks, they're kind of the tough guys of music and tough guys of art, and they do occasionally fucking shoot each other and die of like ODs and stuff, but R.I.P. Mac Miller, but they're still poets, you know what I mean? Like, the toughest fucking rappers out there, like Biggie and Tupac, still wrote poetry about their feelings, still wrote poetry about their moms and their hearts and their girlfriends. Yeah, they talked a lot of good shit about like guns and drugs and making money, but like those guys are also poets. If everything burned and all the digital music and shit's gone and all that's left is the transcriptions of these records, these rap records, a million years from now, we got a shitload of poetry. Some of it good, some of it fucking terrible. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I think each artist now, like, who's marketable in some way and in the public eye, it's each artist individually now decides how much of the artist do they show to the world and how much of the sort of the persona are they showing to the world. And maybe even that's not such a calculated decision for everyone. Maybe some people, the artist is small, maybe Snoop Dogg, just a random guy I picked because I don't know how he is at all. Just a random guy I picked. Maybe Snoop doesn't really think of himself as an artist. Maybe he thinks of himself as kind of a personality, and his, the rap thing is just an extension of him. I don't know if that's how he feels it. He has every right to feel that way if he wants to. But then you look at someone like fucking Adele. She probably considers herself like a major artist. She probably considers herself someone who suffers for her art in a lot of ways. I don't fucking know, right? But even though on this podcast I've bitched a lot about being an artist and I've talked about the artistic aspects of stand-up, it's always through sort of gritted teeth and feeling a little bit of shame for even feeling that way. But I'm kind of fucking over that shit now, man. Because I'm just like, I've realized in the past year that the more I focus on just that, the more I focus on stand-up comedy, which is my art, which is what I do, the more I just focus on writing and performing good shit and having good shows, the more I work on that, the better it is. Shockingly, if you put work into something, it's better. But what ends up happening every single fucking time I do this and it's happening to me right now. The more I focus on the product, the fucking art form, the content that I am putting out, the business suffers. My dates, like, maybe I might be booking a lot of dates right now, but like my website's fucked up. I just had a fucking booker call me pissed off because this date I'm doing next week wasn't selling a lot of tickets, and the guy who owns the theater looks at my website, and I haven't even put up the fucking date on my calendar. I missed it, I forgot, and he's mad it's not on my Twitter. And like, I just do so much shit all the time that's not writing stand-up and doing stand-up, and I understand that that's not how the fucking world works, man, and that's not how the business is anymore, and that's not how maybe it ever fucking was. But I get the driving and I get the traveling, but there's this fucking thing now where it's like, hey man, you're not promoting enough, which by the way is just, we need to fucking rethink about what promotion is. I have these, probably after the Twitter purge of bullshit followers, I got about like 14,000 left or 15,000 or something left, and those are the real people, and they fucking are spread out over the entire planet Earth, that 15,000. But these fucking comedy room owners in Dover, New Hampshire think that 400 of them must live in Dover and they're going to show up just because I tweet it. It's just not how it works, man. And it's been proven now over the years that it's not how it works. And yeah, some people come in and kind of disprove it, Guys who have big podcast followings, the random Viner type internet YouTube personality, they can kind of do it once. They can sell out the room once with a couple tweets, and then guys like me gotta fucking hear about it from all these bookers. Yeah, tweet. It's like, if I'm tweeting it and the comedy club is tweeting it, that is 15% of the work that needs to be done to promote a show. But comedy clubs and random bookers out there want to think that they can kind of point to it as like a reason why the show's not selling tickets. But it's just funny to me how these guys just want to, like, they have an idea to book a comedy show. They book me, who I will do well. Like, everyone will laugh and go home fucking happy. I'll kill. Like, I've got a great batting average for that. I'm not a fucking watch me bomb now at my show that I'm driving to right now after saying all this shit. But, like, I've got a good batting average for that shit, and I'm confident in that, and I don't get a lot of complaints in that way. But yeah, I'm not on Saturday Night Live. I'm on radio shows, and I'm just a comedian. I'm a good one. An award-winning one, motherfuckers. But, that's just not enough anymore, and what bothers me is that these guys don't get it. I'm like, this is all this shit you're giving me right now just makes these shows worse. And sometimes I feel like a little bit that I've become such a dependable motherfucker for a lot of these guys, and I always show up, and I always do a good job, and I always fucking, like, often do it without complaining too much or whatever. And then they just get fucking, they think every show is so easy to just walk in and just kill it and fucking have everyone be happy, and they just think you're an automatic comedy machine or jukebox of comedy or some shit. But it ain't like that, man. It's a fucking whole full-time job, man. Just keeping it's a full-time job just having good sets. That's my job. My job is to fucking have funny ideas, write them down, spend months doing unpaid gigs in the city to turn them into funny-ass bits that I can drive hours to go perform. That's a full-time fucking job right there. There's hundreds of guys that I know that can't do that have been trying for years to do that, and they can't do that. It's fucking hard to do. And there's guys that do it that don't do it that well, that are barely hanging on. And this is at the lower levels, that shit's hard. So my second job is that I also fucking am my own manager, sending and getting emails, making sure, I'm not spending too much money, fucking updating my own website, trying to, fucking maintain good business relationships. So there's a lot of stuff you got to do that. It's a tightrope, man. And then on top of all that, try and have a fucking life, try and maybe find someone you could fucking move in with and have a kid or some shit, on top of it all, or I don't have a regular job. I don't know how fucking guys who really do comedy have a regular job. I don't think you can, really, to be honest. I don't think you can really do this right and have a day job. I couldn't. I don't know how. I'm fucking exhausted all the time just from doing this stand-up thing. And I know a lot of people probably listen to this with real jobs and they roll their eyes like, dude, you don't know. But I'm telling you, you don't know. It's harder work than you think it is. Once you do it for a while, once you kind of become a good comic, people think you just show up and put a smile on your face and walk, because that's what it looks like, But that's like thinking, Ray Allen shows up to Celtics game and just starts dropping threes. It's like a lot of shit has to happen. But let's just put all this fucking comedian griping to the side, because I can't change the way show business is and has always been. That's just how it is. But I just think people should think twice now about, it's this weird thing where a lot of the money is coming straight from the fan base now. If you guys donate to me if you like me. You used to come and see me, but some of you can't come see me. Some of you are fucking in Australia. You can't come to Laugh Boston for the live recording. I love how as many people emailed me saying they couldn't come to the podcast as people did come to the podcast. And we did all right compared to the other podcasts. So I thank you guys for coming out to that. But what can the people in Australia do? And then, people send me $10, $20, $100. That's great, man. And I love it. But it's a weird time, right? I got to figure out how to make money in this time. Like, I never sent Green Day $30 because I liked them. Because they didn't need my $30 because they had a fucking record company and tours and all this kind of shit. But artists, and we are artists. We need it directly from you guys. We're just making it in all different ways all the time. And basically the point of all this is like, I was having the thought, I was like, man, if I wonder what I could have been or what I could be if I was really allowed to freely, like, live like an artist should live, like go out, like live a year on like one of those artist type communes, like fucking not working, just fucking everything, food and drink, everything's paid for, and you don't have to worry for a while about all that bullshit. That's even extra crazy. Let's just say I had like a solid agent and manager and a little bit of a team around me, like taking care of the fucking business and website stuff and social media stuff, and then I was free to just live my life, write comedy, and do shows at night. And also, like, that includes writing scripts, writing columns. Like, if I was just free to do that stuff, record podcasts, if I was free to do that without having to worry about all that other shit, I think God knows where I'd be or what I could be. But it's just not how it is. So it's like, now it's like the people who are like the most productive aren't necessarily the most funny, but they're the most productive, so they're doing all right. So it's just, you just got to get so much fucking done right now to be a comic. I don't know. Is it good? Is it bad? Sometimes I look at the way the world is and I'm like, this is great. It's great that everyone has their chance now at home to kind of produce their own content and put it up on YouTube, and the best stuff rises to the top. But what bums me out about it is that I think there's a lot of just ham bones out there who are acting like jackasses, like I was watching some video the other day. I wanted to see this guy, him and his wife gave up sugar. And there was some video, and this guy's like, so, me and my wife gave up sugar. I know. Well, it's because, and he's got all the fucking accoutrements of a television presenter, but it's really just someone who learned television presenting from TV. It's like, I know Joe Rogan talks about, he can tell the difference between someone who's really taken karate or taekwondo or jiu-jitsu or one of those things, and someone who's, fucking copying moves from movies and TV. He's like, because there are people out there that do that. And it's the same, if you're I'm trained in fucking acting and stuff, but even if you weren't, even if you just done it a long time or done a lot of commercials or theater acting of any sort for maybe 5, 6, 7 years, you could see a lot of like these corny little mistakes. And even if you haven't trained in the theater and in movies and stuff, you've watched a lot of TV, you've watched a lot of movies, you've watched a lot of shit, you can watch YouTube and in your head there's something a little bit shitty going on, there's something just a little off, there's something a little bit not pleasing to your ear or your eye about these people, and that's the fact that they're amateurs, and you can fucking tell. But you don't really care, because at the end of the video there's gonna be like some, there's gonna be a guy filling his swimming pool full of fucking chocolate, and he's gonna have a ball of ants fucking eat itself inside or some shit. So you just watch, you sit through the fucking guy going like, subscribe, comment, and remember, I sound like a fucking cock is being inserted into my ass every second of every day. And that's just how YouTube is. And then that guy's like, I'll be headlining Foxwoods Resort and Casino Comedy Club pretty soon. So I kind of grow a little resentful of that sometimes, because I feel like I've even kept it pretty low key, and I'm not even trying to be that famous of a fucking dude, and I'm still caught up in a lot of bull. I still have fucking guys calling me being like, I feel like you're not doing enough to promote this gig. It's like, yeah, well, I didn't even know this gig was fucking coming, man, and it only pays $200 fucking bucks. Like, what do you want? What do you want me to do? I gotta promote every single gig I do, and under these guys' things, I'll fucking lose every follower I got. I'd just be promoting all the time if I did it the way these guys, this particular guy this week wanted me to do it. Anyway, I'm an artist is what I'm saying, and I want to live like one, and sometimes I get to, and that's the problem, I'll go a few days living my artist life, smoking fucking weed and writing and doing gigs, and I'll feel like, man, this is how it should always be, because so much good shit comes out of that, And when I'm on the phone with fucking New Hampshire bookers, like getting in fucking bullshit arguments about promoting shows that, I don't know how many people I'm going to get to go to. So it's like this exercise in futility. And tell you, that'll take some of the wind out of your sails. And then when the wind's not in your sails, you don't write funny jokes because your sailboat can't move. Your sailboat can't go to Chuckleville, the port of Chuckleville, because there's no wind in it. Yeah. Alright, so my car got towed. Let's talk about that. Fucking car got towed again. I talked about it on the last podcast, the live episode. By the way, special thanks to everyone who appeared on that. They were all fucking great. Everyone hit a home run. And do me a favor and support them, especially the Cotton Southie gals. They're classy, and they came out, they lowered themselves to do this this fucking, I would call it sophomoric podcast. So special thanks to Heather and Maureen from Cotton Southie, but they were fantastic. But everyone was great who did it, and a lot of positive feedback from the episode. A lot of people liked it, so maybe we'll do another one, sometime very soon. But I was complaining on there about Boston and the parking tickets lately. You know, I fucking understand, man. That's life in the big city. You're going to be getting some ticks. That's how it goes. I'm not saying that's a crime, but I'm saying right now the punishment is not fitting the crime. A $20, $40 ticket, been paying them for years, city of Boston, I'll fucking live with it. But sort of sneakily, without anyone really knowing about it or getting too pissed about it, they snuck those prices up nearly double. So now just the average parking ticket you're going to get is about $40 to $60. And often $90. A lot of people are getting... So turns out, you know, because I do this podcast and stuff, I'm a man of the people, I'm finding out it's not just fucking me. It's a lot of fucking people. It's that time of year. They're out getting us, you know? And they're doing a ton of ticketing and a ton of booting, and you can see it happening everywhere if you have your eyes open and you're walking around Boston, you know? So I'm even aware of that fact, talking about it, tweeting about it. What can you do, though, right? I mean, it's like, what can I fucking do? It literally just makes me feel powerless over my own life to be like, well, I really need to go to other parts of Boston at night because I'm a comedian, and most of Boston becomes residential zoned parking at night. So unless I can grab one of the few lucky metered spots that aren't fucking some sort of street cleaning or some sort of bullshit, which I can almost never do, I gotta park in a resident area because that's the majority of the area. And then I get a fucking ticket for what used to be $40 and is now $80. How does that fucking fit? How does that punishment fit that crime? Imagine if you're a Mexican immigrant fucking dishwasher making $40 a night and you just got an $80 ticket. So now your next 2 days of work are just fucking that. I know I lost a lot of you at Imagine Yourself as a Mexican, but try and work with me here. Try and trabaja with me here, will ya, Jorge? But think about that shit, man. Not everyone has money. I don't fucking... How do I get this through to the common listener of this podcast who often tells me to go fuck myself when I complain about these things? And also, these goddamn politicians. Not everyone fucking has that kind of money to drop on a parking ticket. If a parking ticket is going to be northwards of $50 to $60, you should have kept a handicapped person from fucking walking to the store or fucking blocked a fire hydrant or some shit. There's no way that it's fair to give someone that kind of, you know. And that could also be someone who lives in the neighborhood and just hasn't paid the city for the right to park in their own fucking neighborhood. So just think about it, man. It's fucking wrong. I honestly don't know what I want to try and do about it. I don't think I can really do anything as a comedian. I might be able to write some whiny thing for Dig Boston or something about it, and that might help. But maybe if any of you are smarter than me and you know a thing or two about how to fight the power, that's the kind of thing I would really actually, because that just helps everybody. It's not a partisan issue, parking tickets. It's such a fucking scam. And here's another example of how I got scammed. So I'm staying over a friend's house, okay, and I'm even been spending a lot of time at this friend's house lately, and I fucking have figured out the parking system over there a little bit. Alston, Brighton, Brookline. It's fucking brutal. It's like there's snakes in the grass trying to tow you at all times. And I'm looking around, and but I'm figuring out the lay of the land, and I'm so far so good, not getting too many tickets. I'm getting a ticket here and there, but I just realized that's life. But I'm not getting too many, so I'm feeling okay about it. Went to the Red Sox game Sunday night. Had a wonderful time. It was an amazing game. Want to thank Maddie and Nick over at WAAF for hooking me up with the tickets as a thank you for being guest hosts on their show. It was fantastic. Best radio show in Boston. Check those guys out. 3 to 7 on WAAF. I'm there sometimes. Maddie and Nick. WAAF, the only station that really rocks. 107.3. Boston, Massachusetts, Worcester, everywhere. Check it out. But anyway, had a fucking awesome time. It was a close game. Sox won, dramatic fashion, walk-off single by Mitch Moreland. It was a great experience seeing that game. But, going back to the friend's house, smoking some reefer along the way, and I park my car in a spot that I think is safe. I set my alarm so I can be awoken the next morning at 8 a.m. so I can, through an app that the city has, I can pay the fucking meter and keep myself from getting a fucking ticket from the meter, right? So I fucking obviously did not check for the street cleaning sign. I will say I was on an access road. It was angled parking. Street cleaning was not really on my mind at this point. I did ponder it for a second, but I knew there was street cleaning going on in a whole nother area from my past research of parking in this area, so I thought I was safe. I thought I was fucking safe. But so anyway, it gets worse. I go back, sleep, wake up at 8 a.m., pay the meter for 2 hours, go back to sleep, wake up again at 10, put a couple more bucks in the meter. Now I'm putting on my clothes. I'm getting ready to go to the car and leave, right? But I'm feeling pretty confident because I've paid my meter all the way through 11 a.m., so I got nothing to worry about. Then I get a email, Boston Tow Alert email around 10:20 that says your car has just been towed from this spot for street cleaning. And I'm like, what the fuck? It was a terrible, sad surprise. My stoned sort of weed hungover brain was putting the pieces together pretty quick. I was like, fuck, I forgot to check if it was street cleaning. I guess there's street cleaning happening there, but what the fuck? Oh, fuck. And then I walk over there just to make double sure, because sometimes you do get that alert and they haven't actually towed your car yet. I walk up there, my car's fucking gone, and then I realize, all right, it's only been towed about 2 blocks away by the fucking scam artist tow company. So then I walk over to, as I start walking to where my car is towed to, because I fucking know the drill. This has happened to me, 4 times now. So as I'm walking to the thief's house, tow lot, I get a little notification from my Boston parking app that's letting me know, hey, you might want to put some more money in the meter because your time's almost up. Wish this fucking Boston parking app also had something built into it where it could have said, hey, maybe you want to move your fucking car because you're parked in a street cleaning area. But that wouldn't be built into the Boston parking app because they're not interested in cleaning the fucking streets, idiots. They're interested in collecting hundreds upon hundreds of dollars for doing basically nothing. They spray water on the street, and no one's gonna fucking convince me that street cleaning does shit, because it fucking rains all the time in New England, and that cleans the streets 100% better than street cleaning does. And also, we don't even do it 6 months of the year, and the fucking world doesn't fall apart. So fuck street cleaning. It's a waste of fucking everything that is important on earth. Fuck fucking street cleaning. Up the fucking ass. It's a scam. I show up at the tow lot. There's like 50 fucking cars there. So let's think about it. Each car is $140. 40 of that is going towards Massachusetts, but the other 100 and change or whatever goes to the tow company, private ass motherfucking tow company. So that guy making around $5,000 that morning. So let's say he's making around, let's just say $4,000. So 6 days a week, this guy's making $4,000. That's $24,000 a week. The average tow lot is probably pulling in. Could be a little bit more, could be a little bit less, but street cleaning season, the average tow lot, of which there are a dozen in Massachusetts is pulling in $24,000 a week. Now, if some place like that is making $24,000 a week off the citizens of Boston, man, it should look like a fucking high-tech, beautiful tow lot, right? But no, they're always filthy pieces of shit, you know, horrible, like, just junkyards filled with cars. And they treat the cars like shit, but it doesn't matter. They get a pass from the government. They get a pass from the people we elect to steal our cars, hold them, take our cash, and get them back. And now here's where I get a little bit conspiratorial, but I don't fucking care. I think if you follow the money from those fucking tow lots, it doesn't just end with fucking D&D or whoever the motherfucker Dave who owns the place. Someone else is on the lease of those places who is no-showing and making a shitload of money, and I guarantee you they're connected to the fucking mayor or in the city council or fucking somebody, because that's the only way that this scam can keep going. I don't know how the fuck these tow truck lots don't look like Carnegie Hall making $24,000 a week off people. And the tow trucks look like they haven't been fixed in years. So where does all the fucking money go? Where's the money go? I imagine it goes to houses on Martha's Vineyard, fucking boats, fucking SUVs. It goes to nice things that people who have nice money have, right? So good for them, right? They don't give a fuck about an $80 ticket because they got so much money, because they get the money from everyone else's tickets. And a lot of you were like, Will, get out there and get yours. That's how the world works. Okay, I will. I'm trying to. I'm actually driving to Newmarket, New Hampshire, to try and get some of mine right now. But that doesn't mean I still can't complain and say it's completely fucked up that these private tow companies are raking in $24K a week off of taxpayers who are already paying for roads and already paying income tax and fucking auto tax and property tax. We pay a lot of fucking taxes, so I don't want to hear that fucking excuse either of the, hey man, you want roads? You want cops? You want firemen? You gotta have fucking parking tickets. Alright? It's a scam. Not all the money we fucking give to the government goes to fucking schools and fucking candy canes and zebra tails. It goes to fucking people who are fucking stealing it. You know, people are embezzling it. People are going on vacation with it. And I think the parking ticket people and the fucking street sweeping people have gotten just a little too greedy right now. And someone, hopefully a little bit smarter and a little bit harder working than me, will put their nose to the grindstone and fucking solve this shit and blow it up like a fucking Andover outhouse, motherfucker. I want this shit flying through the sky. I want it to land in fucking downtown Detroit and start another fire. That's how fucking big I want this thing to fucking blow up. Okay? Okay. Alright, I'm fucking pulling up to my gig right now. This was a fun podcast to do. I think this was a good episode, in my opinion. I'm going to fucking rate it right now an 8.9. It was awesome driving up here to Newmarket, New Hampshire with you guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for donating. You can donate to me at Will Noonan Comedy on Venmo. At Will Noonan Comedy on Venmo. You can go to my website, click the link, donate through PayPal. You can Apple Pay me, I think. I don't even fucking know how that works. I appreciate it, though. The donations have been coming in. The tow is expensive. I still need a new fucking hood for this Honda Accord sedan studio that I drive. And we got lots of fucking irons in the fire coming up. Filming something new with Trace Gatos. And I'm excited about that. We got a lot of shit coming up, but you already know, right? So thank you for listening. If no one told you they love you today, I do. Peace out. Fuck street cleaning. No headphones. No headphones, so just gotta talk for a minute. Just let this set. That's the level for burping. That's the level for burping. Burp, 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 burp. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, and his sister Sheila sold seashells by the seashore. This morning, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, and his sister Sheila sold seashells by the seashore. Let's fucking go. Come on, buddy. What a prick. People drive like motherfucking savage animals these days. U.S. Marine Corps 3 is the guy's license plate. He certainly doesn't drive like an American hero. Drives like an American cocksucking dickhead. Alright, let me put this window up. I'm coming through your window. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Mike, no headphones. Got the mic with no headphones. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Good morning, good afternoon. Good morning, good afternoon. Good morning, good afternoon. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whatever time it is where you are, thank you for listening. One, two, three.